What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got another reveal from EX01, and I, for one, am rather happy about it indeed. What we've got is Imperialdramon Dragon Mode, and I, for one, am a little bit excited about it. Now, our translation today does come from the lovely Ensan Gaming, which, frankly, we say that a lot, because they provide a lot of translations, and I, for one, am rather happy about it. So let's start off with a basic, shall we? We've got a 12 cost to play normally, which is slightly more than average, a 3 cost to Digivolve from either a blue or green Digimon, which is good. That gives a lot more options. Of course, this is a Digimon that does straddle blue and green. That's not unexpected, but it's no more expensive than we would expect to Digivolve, and you got a choice of colours, so life is good. And we got 11,000 power, which is standard, so slightly more expensive to play normally, but frankly, you shouldn't be playing this normally, so it really doesn't matter. So what we've got here is an evolution skill. When you Digivolve, if there is a free type Digimon card in this Digimon's evolution sources, activate this Digimon and then rest one of your opponent's Digimon. Clearly, that is pretty gosh darned awesome. Now, in terms of the whole unsuspending yourself, it's a little bit of a weird one, because obviously what we often try and do is Digivolve up into our level 6, and then from there, we attack. What we don't usually do is attack with our level 5 and then Digivolve for obvious reasons. The level 6 is bigger and better and blah blah blah. However, here you get to do both. You get to attack with your level 5, then assuming you got a free type Digimon in your evolution source, you then get to Digivolve, unsuspend, and off you go. Now, of course, this does bring in a pretty serious potential downside of what if it goes wrong? And it could go wrong. You attack with your level 5, get deleted. It's not a dramatic pause, that's the end of it. There's no Digivolution, there's no unsuspending, there's no second attack. Of course, you can pretty much guarantee this. Like, obviously, if you've got your level 5 and you're randomly attacking into the stack, unless you have been basically counting cards while your opponent's been playing, and know for a fact that they have already gone through all the cards in their security/deck that could possibly get rid of them, then no, it's way too difficult. Don't attack the stack randomly. If you're attacking a resting Digimon, you know if you're going to survive or not, and you know if your opponent's got a blocker big enough to take you down, and obviously in that situation you don't attack with a level 5, because to do so would mean you get taken down by the blocker, and that would obviously be a very bad thing. Don't do that. That would be pretty gosh darn silly. So what I'm basically saying here is, yes, you did Digivolve and unsuspend, and that is awesome. However, it is not quite as good as it might seem. You have got to be extremely careful in how you actually manage this, because to do it wrong would be to just give up your Digimon right before you Digivolve, and that would clearly be a very, very silly thing indeed. You have been warned. And you get to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. It's like Flower Cannon. We all like Flower Cannon, right? And I'm not talking some, like, amazing skill here. Like, green have got a billion different things that they can do to rest Digimon. But you're not green. You're blue. Having said that, you can Digivolve from green, so you are essentially a green Digimon. You're not, let's be clear, you are blue, but you are, to all intents and purposes, other than being able to play options and things of that nature, you are essentially a green Digimon. You fit a very similar role. So, okay, that's kind of cool. Suspending is good. Remember, they'll unsuspend at the start of their turn, but remember also that you're only allowed to attack suspended Digimon, so essentially you suspend them, so you open up the opportunity to then attack them, and you've then got a nice fresh 11,000 power Digimon. This is looking pretty gosh darn good, ladies and gentlemen. This is looking pretty gosh darn good. I like unsuspending, although like I've said, the unsuspending is awkward, because you've got to attack with a level 5 to really make it worth it. But you can make that work in your favor. Suspending your opponent's Digimon, very, very good. It's like a free Flower Cannon. That is good. But then, of course, we've got the question of what is a free type Digimon? Well, we've got a few. Essentially, while we're in blue, we've obviously got the Imperialdramon Dragon Mode we had before. Obviously, that's not going to be in the same evolution line. It's a level 6. I'm just putting that out there. And although there are a few non-blue examples, we're going to stick with blue and green for the moment, because remember, you can Digivolve from green. In terms of a free type level 5 Digimon, we do actually have Dinobemon from BT3, which has both piercing and jamming, which is pretty gosh darn good. Obviously, you know, I said a moment ago that we don't want to randomly attack the stack for fear of being deleted before we can Digivolve. Be very careful with Dinobemon. It has piercing, so you will go into the stack and that'll be a little bit awkward. But of course, that's a moot point, because as well as having piercing, you've also got jamming. And jamming says you will not be deleted by security Digimon, which actually turns Dinobemon from a terrifying use to a phenomenal use. Because now you take out a Digimon and you perform a security check and you're going to survive. We really want jamming on the level 5 if we're going to attack before we then go and Digivolve and unsuspend and attack again. We could also have started with a level 3 Wormmon and then ended up at this as a level 6. You essentially go up through the green evolution line and then make it blue right at the end. That absolutely would work, because as long as you had this Wormmon down at the bottom, you would have a free type Digimon and you would be good. So they're essentially your two green options. In terms of blue, we've got Imperialdramon, who has jamming, and just like we saw with Dinobemon, this is perfect. Because yes, you've got to be careful randomly attacking the stack for fear of being deleted before you can Digivolve, but don't worry your pretty little heads about it, because jamming means that you will not be deleted. And then we can go slightly further back in our evolution line here. We've got XVmon, that when you Digivolve, you want to spend a level 4 or lower Digimon, which is actually a really good skill. And the Vmon that has jamming, so it's a nice cheap level 3. It's kind of weak, but it's got jamming. It's not being deleted by security Digimon. That sounds pretty good to me. They are essentially your options. There are a couple of like red Digimon, and there's a couple of level 6s we haven't mentioned, but I rather suspect they're not terribly important in the grand scheme of things, because realistically, you're not actually going to be using them to go up into this evolution line. Okay. Sounds good to me. So basically, if you go from either Dinobemon or Imperialdramon, you've got jamming, you won't be deleted by a security Digimon, and then you get to unsuspend and attack again. That is brilliant. Obviously, you've still got to watch out for things like Gaia Force. Even if you've got jamming, if something like a Gaia Force comes out, you'll still be deleted before you can Digivolve. Jamming doesn't make you absolutely invincible, but it does make the chances of you being deleted much, much, much lower than they would have been otherwise. But there is another skill here. On your turn, for each colour in this Digimon's evolution source, you gain 1,000 power. So you're basically starting off at 11,000 power, which is your average level 6, and you're trying to build up from there to be a far above average level 6 and really get some smashing going on. So how do we work this? Obviously, we can go up a green evolution line and then turn into this, and that will give us one other colour, and you'll have an extra 1,000 power, 12 in total, which is still genuinely relevant because you go from an average level 6 to an above average, meaning there will be far more that you can beat in a security battle or just take out in a regular battle, but we want to go a little bit more. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have got some options. Now, shout out to the lovely folks at Ensan Gaming, because I was looking at this, but they have actually posted a very similar thing. In fact, I think it might be the same thing on their channel, so I still need to give them a little bit of props for it. But what we can do is we can start off with the green Agamon, or indeed any green level 3 whatsoever. But remember, the whole point is we are trying to have extra colours to build up power. So if you're going to try and build up power of extra colours, you might as well start off with the Agamon that gives you the extra power. That just seems sensible to me. Plus, you know, Agamon's adorable. Why would we not want to start with Agumon? From there, we want a different color Digimon that can Digivolve from a green Digimon. And how about we go into EX01 and we have a look at the Tyrannomon that we looked at, I want to say yesterday, because Tyrannomon can Digivolve from red or green. Now, I'm looking over on digimoncard.dev, and correct me if I am mistaken, that's where translated proxies are coming from, like Tyrannomon. I don't believe there is another level 4 which can actually fit this niche of evolves from a green, so you have been warned. Now that we are up into red, we need a level 5 that can Digivolve from red, except we don't, because remember, Tyrannomon also counts as a green Digimon when it's in play. Tyrannomon really is absolutely perfect here. I'm really glad that's already been revealed. And then we need a level 5 that can Digivolve from red or green, but is neither red or green. And clearly we're going Imperialdramon here. I've already told you what a great combo Imperialdramon is. So now you've got a blue, a red, and a green in your evolution sources, plus you've got the extra 1,000 from Agumon, and you have got an extra 4,000. That puts you at 15,000, and 15,000 is way better than 14,000, because we've got things like the Omnimon from BT6, just a general, ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill Omnimon, which comes in at 14,000, that you will then be able to beat while surviving, which is clearly a very good thing indeed. There are a few 14,000 power level 7s out there. They're in the minority, but you still get to beat them, and that is a good thing. So there is a genuine difference going from 14 to 15,000. So like I've said, you need Tyrannomon. That is just non-negotiable. You also need Imperialdramon because, I mean, I've explained why Imperialdramon is perfect, but it also does bear pointing out that we need a blue Digimon that can Digivolve from red or green. And it's got to be blue because you need to Digivolve it into Imperialdramon Dragon Mode. But we've already had a green Digimon to start off with, so it's got to be a blue that can Digivolve from a red or a green. And in that regard, literally your only option is Imperialdramon, but it also happens to be perfect. So those two are locked in. The Agumon can be anything. You can take the Agumon out. You can put any level 3 green Digimon in, however you like. But I do agree with Ensan Gaming here that Agumon as a level 3 just makes perfect sense. If you're building up your power anyway, you might as well be building up your power. And there we go. 15,000 power Digimon that gets to unsuspend and attack. And I think if you can attack with Imperialdramon here, you've got jamming, so you're almost certainly going to survive. Like I've said, there are exceptions. And then you get to Digivolve, unsuspend, and have a 15,000 power Digimon ready to rock. I cannot be the only one that thinks this looks fun. I'm giving this between 4 and 5 Wassies. I really like this. I think it's one of those weird Digimon where you cannot just play it normally. You're not just going to slip this into a deck. You need to build around it. You've got to have the right evolution line. But I think if you've got the right evolution line, this becomes very, very fun very, very quickly. That's what I think. I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.